Now, the next challenge that we have involves deliverables and outcomes. And I still see that some people, not everybody, have trouble distinguishing between deliverables and outcomes. And you will see that even I have that trouble. So one of the problems here is that it is not just we who have this problem, it's the work plan. Can you click it again? This right across the slide are the headings for the PMU version of the work plan. It's been translated into English. And what hit me just a few days ago when I was looking at how to amend a line item in the activity plan, I noted that the heading had expected results and deliverables together. And then next to it were sub-activities. And when I started going through the PMU version of the plan, the English translation, it was very hard to get a sense of consistency and a clear understanding of what was an expected result versus what was a deliverable. And then activities, sub-activities might also, where it was hard to get a consistent understanding of what was going where. So the problem here, and I asked myself last night, who's going to ask the question, why do we need outcomes anyhow? Let's just assume that they're important. I don't want to get into exactly why, but outcomes, well, I will. Basically, outcomes essentially give us direction. And when we lose the sense of what an outcome is, we lose direction, and we also lose the reason for justifying our work in the first place. So when you start combining and mixing up outcomes and deliverables, and they use the word expected result, but it's essentially the same, then you start having a lot of problems in terms of lack of direction with regard to the particular activity. Okay, next slide. If there is a simple way to negotiate with your counterpart as to what are deliverables and what are outcomes, I am suggesting that you look at a table like this. This is pulled from the TACNU of the A2F activity. And we're using language here at the top that makes it very clear. Look what it says. Basically, it says general description of deliverables expected from USAID Link SME in cooperation with implementing partners. So we're saying whatever is below is what we do. And then in the next column, are expected to assist the counterparts below, i.e. the counterparts below are getting something. They're getting the deliverable or the benefit of the deliverable. And then it's up to the counterpart to achieve outcomes in the near future. So on the left-hand side, let's go down to the middle row. On the left-hand side, it says 3 regional training sessions on enhancing credit opportunities. Okay, that's what we're going to provide as a deliverable. And a training session is clearly a type of deliverable. Well, we can get a little bit more into that in a minute. But so who are the counterparts that are expected to do something with that? They're the SMEs. And so what do we hope they will achieve that will give meaning to the fact that we're giving training and justifying this training? Well, actually, they begin negotiating with creditors, or they start finding access to new forms of credit. That is the outcome. We would be very happy if it actually occurred. It would bring us closer to our KRs and our IRs. So when we have a training, as in here, if we had the outcome being, well, it's just knowledge, or they attend, that's not very meaningful. What we really need is actually a change in behavior. And of course, that's very hard, but it makes you think very clearly about whether or not training is justified. So, there are 2 examples of this type of table right now in the two TACNUs under DX and under A2F. You can, the DX thing is probably not there right now because I sent it to TN in a hard copy or a soft copy attached. So you won't find it, but certainly you'll find this one in the A2X folder under the TACNs in SharePoint. Okay. All right. So back to trying to understand again what is a deliverable versus what is an outcome. And as we can see here, someone read it for me. Chan Tui, my voice is going. Can you read this? Sorry, no, Mi Chan. I looked at you, but I said Chan Tui. Can you read the left-hand column? Because my voice is going.
Yeah.
And loudly, so it's recorded.
A deliverable.
No, before that.
You know something is a deliverable when it describes something complete, and in the future, that link SME is primarily responsible for completing, often with an implementing partner, and that helps a partner achieve an outcome.
Okay.
And you know something is an outcome when it describes circumstances in the future that the counterpart is primarily responsible for achieving and using a deliverable. And outcomes help Link SME reach its KRs and IRs.
Okay. You know, I wrote this, and I'm not saying it sounds easy, but it can at times be very difficult. And I'm not going to say it's always going to work. And I don't want to be super rigid in our approach, but this is what you should be striving for. You need to distinguish between these two things when you're discussing these issues with your counterpart. You should be asking them, well, what do you want to do? And then they'll say something, and then you say, well, how can we help? And then you'll start talking, and how can we help is the deliverable. What they want to do, accomplish, is the outcome. All right? All right. Now, I've been calling counterparts, and that's, or sometimes partners. Sometimes I use the word beneficiary, but I'm not crazy about that word. And I'm not crazy about these two words either. But let's make it clear about who our counterparts are. And I'm not sure necessarily we should be using them, maybe later on in the year. But right now, we have two types of partners. There are the partners that help us implement things. Okay, maybe one of our consultants or a trainer, even though we don't necessarily think that way. Those people are implementing partners. We have entered into an arrangement with them, and we're working together to make it happen. USAID considers us an implementing partner, and they're paying us to do this. So we can consider our trainers and consultants to also be implementing partners. Oftentimes, our implementing partners might be a government agency, like APCA or AED, and they're doing it because they're motivated by the outcome. We're not really paying them to do this work. They are a partner in perhaps a benevolent sense as opposed to a profit-making sense. Okay, then there's something that I've never really articulated before, but this is very important too. And I used to call them beneficiaries. I'm not sure it's the greatest word, but an outcome achievement partner is the person who should be receiving the deliverable and expecting to achieve an outcome with the deliverable. So if we go back, can we go back to the previous table? There we go. So here we're back to the table on the TACNU for A2F. I note the first one, AED, in the first line, or the first row. Is that AED an implementing partner or an outcome producing? An outcome, sorry, let's get it started. Let me do it again. It's a deliverable producing partner or an outcome achieving partner?
Achieving partner.
You think it's
Both.
both?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Loli, it is, that is both. Here I use the word counterparts. But because again, to put all these extra words, and I'm throwing too many words out anyhow, and let's try to slow that down. So let's go to the next row. Are the SMEs a deliverable producing partner, or are they an outcome achieving partner?
Achieving.
Good, they are not the
They are
ones,
receiving service.
they're receiving a service and they're expected to do something with it.
Yep.
Okay. Good, let's move forward then.